from my research so far, the Salem, Oregon prison had a lot of bad shit going on. Like, it sounded like there was people who worked for the prison that were working with inmates to basically drug run and do a whole bunch of trafficking and different things like that. And they would do it through the prison and out of the prison, all that. So the prison hired this guy, Michael Francke, to come in, and he was kind of like a do it by the books guy. And he was, he's kind of like he's like the dude you bring in to fix shit, from my understanding. Well, he was murdered. Like a little while into starting to work there, because I think he was starting to realize like what was going on. So far in my research, I think some of the people that worked with him who were doing this bad shit set up this murder to kill him so he's not involved anymore, so they could keep doing this shit. And the man who is convicted for his killing is named Frank Gable, and I'm pretty positive he's an innocent man, because there's tons of research and tons of evidence that proves that this man did not kill Michael Francke, but Frank Gable sitting in prison and has been for quite some time now for the murder of him. So this is an article by Les Zatz.
Lesbian?
Yeah, Les Zatz from the Oregon Live page. So let's go ahead and read it. A plate shattering in a parking lot could unlock one of Oregon's most durable murder mysteries. Attorneys for convicted killer Frank Gable say they have new evidence proving he could not have killed Oregon prison director Michael Francke. Francke was stabbed to death on the evening of January 19th, 1989, outside Salem's Dome building headquarters for the Oregon Corrections Department. A Maroney County jury 2 years later convicted Gable, who is now serving his life sentence in an out-of-state prison that state officials wouldn't identify for security reasons. So he's been in prison since 1991.
Jesus.
Gable, a petty crook, maintained his innocence. A succession of lawyers have fought without success to overturn his conviction. Francke's own brother has long maintained Gable didn't do it. Now, Nell Brown, assistant federal public defender, has taken on the case, asking a federal judge for either a new trial or a reduced sentence. But in a new affidavit, Vera reverses course. She recounted how the couple was served an eviction notice after a rowdy gathering in their apartment complex. The court filing recounts witnesses telling about event, including one who told of throwing the plate. The noisy evening provoked the apartment manager to evict the Gables. So Vera is or was Frank Gable's girlfriend or wife or whatever. So they were throwing a crazy party, and they got evicted the next day.
Okay.
Or they got an eviction notice from it. So the court filing recounts witnesses telling about the event, including one who told of throwing the plate. The noisy evening provoked the apartment manager to evict the Gables, according to the court filing. In her affidavit, Vera said seeing that eviction notice more recently reminded her that it came the day after the party and the day after Francke was murdered.
So he was at a party at the time of the murder?
Yeah. She said if she had seen the notice during the murder investigation, she would have testified that Gable had, in fact, been home that night. She also said phone recordings refreshed her memory that a Gable associate called the apartment roughly 90 minutes before the murder. She said Gable talked to the man and was home until an hour or two after Francke was stabbed. Her affidavit, however, doesn't address comments to the Oregoneer in 2005 when the newspaper examined the Francke murder. She recounted a tearful Gable telling her during an argument 3 or 4 months after the murder that she didn't understand the pressure he was under. I stuck the guy, Gable said, according to Vera. What guy, she asked. The guy at the hospital, Gable answered. The Oregoneer's review could find no collaboration then that Gable's alibi fleshed out in more than 8 hours of interviews with Gable. The Oregon Review could find no. I don't know what that meant, but whatever. Police files showed the theories being advanced in the new court filing had been pursued. Investigators dug into conspiracy theories and evidence that others killed Francke. None of it panned out. A retired state judge separately dug into prison corruption as a possible cause of Francke's murder. He found no such link. Gable has reportedly tried to get Oregon's Court of Appeals and Supreme Court to give him a new trial, except on a narrow issue of the quality of work by his lawyer. His appeals have been denied. The next step in the current appeal is for government...
Hey, good night, Big Papa.
Hey, good night. The next step in his current appeal is for government attorneys to respond. The latest attempt to exonerate Gable cites new evidence, including recantations by key witnesses besides Vera. They include Cappy Shorty Hardin. He testified at trial that he was parked near the Dome building with a young woman named Jody Swingerin when he saw Gable stab Francke. In an affidavit executed in Iowa 5 years ago, Hayden now swears, "I didn't see Frank Gable stab Michael Francke."
So are all these stories different? It sounds like everyone's story is doesn't make any sense with the murder.
To me, it sounds like they set up this Frank Gable guy as the murderer, and all these people were in on it.
Yeah.
So they may have got some payouts, because I think there's corruption in the prison.
Yeah.
Murder with Hayden, but at trial she denied she saw any such crime. In a new affidavit, she said she lied to the grand jury when she said she witnessed the murder.
So damn, it's fucking dumb.
It could be pressure from...
I was gonna say, are they pressured before or after? That was the question.
Right. Dan Walsh, he testified that Gable twice confessed to him that he killed Francke. In a new affidavit, he said that wasn't true. Kevin Walker, he testified that Gable confessed to him. In a new affidavit, he said that wasn't true. In his appeal, Gable contends their original incriminating testimony came from police tactics that included the relentless abuse of polygraph tests. David Raskin, a polygraph expert who examined records in the Gable's case, said in affidavit filed on Gable's behalf that witnesses were intensely interrogated, pressured, coerced, and frightened by the angry and sometimes violent behavior of the interrogators. He said he found serious misconduct in how police polygraph examiners tested these two, subsequently pointed the finger at Gable. Unethical and flawed polygraph testing procedures combined with improper and coercive interrogations appear to have provided the means to shape their statement in order to obtain false testimony. Raskin wrote, who's the professional expert on polygraphs. Jesus.
I was looking, but yeah, I think most of them are bots.
Yeah. He said witnesses were polygraphed repeatedly, sometimes on the same day. Jody Swingerin was given 23 polygraph tests in 12 sessions, Raskin wrote. I have never seen that many tests administered to one person in the 43 years I've been working in this field. Walsh said in his affidavit, the police yelled at me because the polygraph results showed he was lying. Eventually, I told the police that what I thought they wanted to hear, that Mr. Gable confessed to me the details of the murder, Walsh said. Mr. Gable never confessed to me. Gable's lawyer also revives a conspiracy theory that has dogged the Francke murder almost from the start. Critics of Gable's convictions have theorized that Francke was murdered to stop an investigation into drug-related corruption inside the prison system. The filing said there is evidence that one of 3 other men killed Francke, and the evidence was presented to jurors at Gable's trial. One man, they said, repeatedly confessed to the killing. Another, the filing said, appears to have been paid to kill Francke. That was Timothy Rooster Nadiv Dad, a small-time drug dealer who himself was murdered 2 weeks after Francke. The court filing said that Greg Johnson, an associate of Natividad's, told a defense investigator that he spent time with Nat, I'm just going to say Nat, around the time Francke's murder. According to the filing, Johnson said he dropped off Nat at the Dome building that evening of the murder, returned later, remembered Natividad saying, "It's not my blood," when he got into the car. A few days later, he went along with Natividad to get his payoff. Two men in a car, possibly with Oregon government license plates, pulled up, and one of the men handed something to Natividad, which Natividad later revealed was $20,000 in cash. The court filing recounts. Johnson recognized the two men as state prison officials, the court filing said. Gable told the Oregoneer in 2005 that doesn't believe Natividad was part of a plot to murder Francke. It doesn't make no sense, he said. So
allegedly, a couple people gave this dude 20 G's and they were in a government license plates, and he said they were prison workers, right?
Well, just like small-time crooks.
Okay.
The people who are paying it.
Yeah,
were the
prison officials.
Yeah, allegedly the prison officials who. The conspiracy is that this Michael Francke was figuring out that they were doing like drug smuggling.
Yeah, and then so they set up a whole thing for a murder
to have him killed and framed this Frank Gable guy who, as of today, still sits in prison.
Damn.
Since 1991.
This needs to be a Netflix series.
That probably
will be the forerunners of it.
I would love to do that.
Back, and there he was. And that's all I say. Right? Once episode, and it just shows like a fucking actor rendition of this what happened. And just I say, and there he was, and I'm also the actor. It'd just be going panicking. I'm like, ooh,
oof, oof, oof.
And like, oh shit. Wild.